Hang on, let me do this one right.
Okay, I'm going to tell the story of 3 guys. Now their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now these guys were Jews, but you see they've been taken into exile, into Babylon. Now, during their time in Babylon, the king set up a giant image. It was 90 feet high, and he said, throughout my entire kingdom, I want anyone who hears any kind of music played to bow down and worship this image. Otherwise I'll have them thrown into a fiery furnace. Now, some people who don't like the Jews, they come to the king and say, Your Majesty, you remember this rule which you declared, which said that everyone must bow down and worship the image, otherwise you have them thrown into a fire? Well, there just so happen to be 3 guys, 3 Jews, who refuse your own edict, and are unwilling to bow down and worship. Their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king's a bit angry. He calls them to himself. He says, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. This is how it's going to be. Next time you hear the music play, bow down and worship. If you're willing, fine. Otherwise, I'll have you thrown into a fiery furnace. And what God will be able to save you from my hand? Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they respond to the king. They say, Our God's able to save us. But you know what? Even if he doesn't, know this. We'll never bow down to this or any other image you set up. The king's even more angry. He says, Make the flames 7 times hotter and throw them in now. In fact, his command was so urgent and the flames so hot that the people carrying them were killed by the flames. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego all fall into the fire. Now, the king looks into the fire and he's like, Hang on a second. Didn't I throw 3 guys into the fire? How come I can see 4 walking around? And one of them looks like a son of the gods. So he calls to them. He says, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out of there. And they do. And everyone looks at them, and they're astonished to see that they haven't been harmed by the flames, that their hair hasn't been singed, and their clothes don't even smell of smoke. So the king says, Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel to rescue his servants, for they trusted him, and were willing to give up their own lives rather than worship any god beside their own. So from now on I say, if anyone says anything bad against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I'll have them chopped up into little bits and pieces, and their houses turned to piles of rubble, for no other god can save in this way. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego all received promotions in the kingdom.
Stop.